Hey everyone, Max here. Um, what day is it? Sunday. I'm like 2 days short of my third dose of testosterone at zero point 0.4 milliliters, which previously to that I was at 0.25, which usually a full dose is zero point 0.5 milliliters. So I'm like almost at a full dose. Um, when I was taking 0.25 milliliters, I didn't feel like much was happening, like especially internally. I didn't really feel any different. I didn't really feel um like emotionally I didn't recognize really any changes or anything. Even my body changes were happening kind of slowly. But now that I'm on point 4, I've been getting frustrated and or angry a bit easier, which is interesting for me because typically in my life I don't feel anger very often, if ever. Like, it's just um, a much more seldom recognized or used emotion. Like, people would ask me before, like, I had this ex-boyfriend who would be like, "Why aren't you angry right now?" And I'd be like, "I don't know, I'm not angry, I'm just sad, okay? I don't know." Like, I didn't get angry, I just would get sad, or like I would get frustrated, but not ever like pissed. And definitely, like, there's been 2 instances after this where I've just like stupid shit is happening and I just get so pissed and I'm like, why is this happening? Why am I so mad about this thing that I would never be mad about otherwise? So that's really the only like internal thing that I feel is changing. My voice, I think, is a little bit deeper, more regularly too, because I had that like inflection thing that was happening where like my voice felt like it was getting deeper, but I would also still be able to hit those like higher pitches sometimes. So that's a little bit different. I don't know. My stash is like not really different necessarily. Like, it's not any darker. You probably can't even really see it in this video, but like the hair there is like a little bit more coarse, which is interesting. That's like kind of a new thing for me. My muscles are like a little bit more defined, especially like up here in my arms. Like, that's not something that I've been able to really like get my arms to hold on to muscle before. And I think I kind of mentioned that before, but it feels good. Like, that feels good. And you know, whatever. And my hips are getting a little bit more narrow. You probably can't really tell that much, especially with this video, but like here, it's a little bit more narrow, my butt's a little bit smaller, my chest is getting a little bit smaller, which feels really good. It's still there, though. I don't know. I mean, I feel like people who update this stuff weekly are better at recognizing the small changes than I must be, because I'm also just a really big picture person, and I'm not always a details person. So I just feel like day to day there's not a lot of changes happening. But definitely, like, today I was like looking in the mirror and I was like, what's happening? Like, what is this? So that was definitely something. And then also like the anger thing. Those are kind of the only two real updates. And even with that, like, I can mostly manage anger. It just kind of takes me off guard a little bit sometimes when I'm like I'm so mad. I'm like, why am I so mad? My legs also, I think, are a little bit more muscular. Like, I don't want to say more muscular, but like more defined. Like, before, my legs were super muscular, but now I feel like when I'm looking in the mirror, I can see more like muscle definition along like the sides of my legs and also in my calves. Like, my calves have never been super muscular, but those are getting much more defined, which is kind of cool. And I think especially a lot of that stuff is just coming from my like derby training being pretty intense, pretty heavy. So feeling I'm getting more progress in that realm than maybe like some other folks might if they're not working out as much or as hard as I am. Um, what else? I don't know. I feel like that's mostly it. That's mostly it. Dysphoria stuff is getting a little bit better. Anxiety stuff is getting a little bit better, which is pretty cool because I haven't really had to try super hard to get that to happen, which is kind of interesting. You know, when that happens, there's always kind of that, like, you know, if you're not someone who deals with mental health, you might not relate to this, but I feel like with some of that stuff becoming less, it's a little bit, for me, like, well, if I don't have those things, like if I'm not constantly managing an eating disorder, or if I'm not constantly managing anxiety, like what do I do? Like, what do I do if I don't have those things, you know, as like a part of my identity? So that's been something kind of interesting that I've been talking with my therapist about. But otherwise, you know, it's slow. It's slow. It's not like it all just goes away one day and then you're like, what? Like I still deal with that stuff, but it seems like it's getting a little bit better, which is cool. I hosted a trans clothing swap yesterday at my house, which was really cool. And that was like, the intention for that was like, I was talking to some folks who are transgender, but who aren't necessarily like super out, or who don't really have a lot of community around it, who were expressing that like going shopping for like a new wardrobe, or like just one or two even articles of clothing that are a little bit more feminine than they are used to. So like shopping in the women's section or shopping in the men's section, specifically women. I feel like people who are read as men who are dressing more feminine are oftentimes more so the brunt of transphobia than women who are dressing like men, because I feel like, or sorry, rather people who are perceived as women dressing more like masculine, because I feel like that's something that is more acceptable in our society. So anyways, yeah, people expressing that, and I was just like, man, like there's community out there. Like I have lots of trans friends, but we're not all necessarily in the same community. Like I have them, but they're all kind of in separate communities, or I know them through different things. And so I just was like, cool, well, like what if we just have like this group of people get together that are all trans and like gender nonconforming on some level, who, you know, maybe want to look for clothes and who don't necessarily know each other, and we can all just hang out and like try stuff on if people feel comfortable doing that, and we can all just encourage each other about like our gender expression and stuff. And I didn't really know what to expect, because I felt like a lot of people got invited, but I didn't know a lot of folks, and I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of response about it. Like a lot of folks were just like, oh, whatever. And then a lot of folks kind of mentioned that they couldn't come last minute. So I was like, oh no, like what if no one really shows up? Like what if it's a small group and it's really awkward? Or what if it's like a huge group and we don't all fit in my house? But I felt like it ended up being kind of like the perfect size group, and things were like a little awkward at first, as they will be for a bunch of people who don't really know each other. But I felt really happy because some folks that I don't know came, and I got to meet them, and that was cool. And then some of the folks that I do know, who I love dearly, got to meet. And hopefully that will mean some new friendships. And I think that lots of people went home with some new stuff that was really cool, and there was a lot of variety in the clothes that were available, and I had a lot of my cisgender friends donate clothes, which was really awesome, and I thought a really nice way for them to support the event. So yeah, that was really fun, and it felt really special, even though it was kind of a small group of people. And I got a couple cool crop tops, so I felt good about it. And now I have like probably like 12 huge bags of clothes at my house that I have to figure out what to do with. But I'm probably going to donate some of them to Dress for Success. We kind of, two of my buddies helped me clean up a little bit last night, and we sort of separated like the fancier, like dressier clothes that could be used for like job interviews, especially for like women or like more feminine folks. And those will probably go to Dress for Success, and then potentially the other stuff will go to Out of the Closet or Kaleidoscope, or both. And I'm also open to other suggestions as to where to donate the clothing. So that's kind of it. I'm going to take my third shot at 0.4 milliliters on Tuesday, and going to keep on keeping on. All right, thanks for watching. The mattress is still here. I got to do something with it. All right, bye.